We talked about Jesus rising early morning, transforming into this light spiritual body of the resurrection. And then going through the shroud, going through the doors of the tomb, closed doors, and even going through the doors of the upper room when they were closed. He is a magic now. He's like it's wonderful. And he is, catch me if you can, right? And glory. He told Mary Magdalene something that is not going to happen immediately. He said, tell my disciples to go to Galilee, up north, to the places where we were, the villages we visited before, the place of beginning, where we met each other, where I picked them to be my disciples. When I went to Peter and said, throw the net, and he threw the net and he got a lot of fish. And then he followed me and they became my disciples. Tell them to go there. But they saw him that night and they saw him the other Sunday in Jerusalem. But then after that second Sunday, they all moved to Galilee, to Capernaum, to Bethsaida, to Nazareth, to this area around the Sea of Galilee, where the disciples grew up, where their friends are, where their families are. And they were there, and Jesus used to come and visit them. One of the visits, it took him, what's a 40 day? 40 day is, so 2 weeks, 40 day minus 2 weeks is 26 days. 26 days is it's 3.5 weeks. 3.5 weeks, Jesus would come and visit them in Galilee. One of those visits, they went to fish. Actually, Peter said, I'm going to fish. It seems like they had no food, and they wanted to catch some fish for dinner. So other disciples went with him, maybe 4 or 5 or 7 of them. I don't remember the number exactly. And they went in the afternoon, maybe at night, into his boat, Peter's boat, and they went into the lake, and they started throwing their nets and pulling them up, casting the nets, and then retrieving them, casting the nets, and guess what? No fish. Again, no fish. At dawn, when was like, we said dawn is at twilight, where the light is about, twilight usually called dusk, but dawn also is a dim light. The sun is not there yet. And they have this figure standing on the shore. Again, it's the very faint lighting, and think of it this way. A figure of a man standing on the shore. And the man yelled at them, "Children," he called them, "have you caught anything? Do you have any food?" And they said, "No, yes." They didn't say, "Master." "No, you don't know who he is. It's from a distance." "No, we don't have any fish." "Cast your nets on the right side of the ship, and you will find." It's weird. They looked at each other and said, "Okay." And they pushed their nets out of the boat on the right side. And then they started drawing the nets, and they couldn't.
Full of fish.
It was a lot of fish. So John was the first one, John the Beloved, the one who was very close to Jesus, the brother of Andrew.
And what your church is named after before.
He leaned on Peter and said, "It is the Lord." It's him. Peter looked at him, shocked and surprised, and but Peter, if you look at Peter, let me describe Peter to you. He was actually standing almost naked. The whole night he was working with fishing. You know, if you have a coat on you, and you're in the sea,
That's right, it's because it's cold.
and you're gonna be splashed with water over and over again, what do you usually do? Do people go to the sea to take off their clothes and put on more clothes? They take off their clothes, right? You're gonna be splashed with water. Imagine you're having a coat on or a thick cloth, and then you're getting a lot of water on you. What happens? It gets heavy, you get wet, and it doesn't dry up.
And the coat.
And you get cold, and you might catch cold and start being sick. So they usually, when they work with fishing and he's working very hard, it's gonna hinder him. So what did he do? He took it off. That's common. That happens all the time. And he has something around his waist. You know, he doesn't want to be completely naked. But then St. John said to him, "It is the Lord." And Peter said, he grabbed his coat and completely covered himself immediately. And then, what did he do next?
Jumped into the water.
Jumped into the water. Okay. Well, this is weird, Abuna, right? I jump into the water naked or with a swimming suit, or I jump with in the water with my tuxedo. You put on a tuxedo to go into the water? Or a dress, a nice dress? Tuxedo is the suit that they wear for weddings.
Or
No, that
fancy
spiffy, very handsome
or
suit.
fancy dinners, you know.
Yeah? Do you do that? Do you jump in the water with your clothes on? To put on clothes to jump in the water, but why did he do it?
Because he felt ashamed.
He's going to meet
The Lord.
Jesus. He needs to be, he was aware that he's naked and needs to be covered. He had no problem sitting, working naked with his disciples, other disciples. It was John. John, he didn't have any problem with John seeing him with a swimming suit. He didn't have any problem with Thomas, with Andrew, his brother, the brother with his brother, or James, the brother of John. He didn't have any problem with that. But once he knew that the Lord is on the shore, he had two ideas in his mind. The first idea is, I need to go. I need to go to him. He's there, I need to go to him. What's the second idea? I can't go like this. I cannot go like this. So what did he? Grabbed his coat, covered himself. What does that remind you of?
Ashamed. Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve, exactly. When God was heard, when Jesus was heard walking in the garden, Adam and Eve said, what? Uh-oh, he's coming. And went and
Hid themselves.
hid themselves and started covering themselves quickly. But they didn't have coats, they had
Bushes.
fig leaves. So when he went there, they found Jesus standing on the shore. I'm sure he knelt down before him and kissed his feet maybe. And he said, Lord, he didn't say that in this time. He said, the Lord actually, he found the Lord, listen to this, he found the Lord on the shore with fire. He has a little bit of fire, like a camping area. And on the fire, there was fish. And like rods or sticks. What's happening? It's being roasted, barbecued. And there was bread. And nobody saw anybody. But you know who did that? I don't believe that Jesus did it. Who did it? Who would do that? He got some cook to work for him. He hired a cook for this picnic.
No.
Who would be the cook? What? You don't know who would be the cook? You're actually disappointing me.
Wow.
Who serves Christ non-stop? Angels. Absolutely. They served him when he was in the desert trying, he was hungry after his fast, and they're serving him now. So they brought the fish, and then he told Peter, bring stuff from what you catch, bring what you got. They brought the net and he had to drag it. It was very heavy. And he said, St. John said, there was a big fish that was in the not a small fish, not those little fish that you eat commonly from the Sea of Galilee. It was big fish like that. And they even counted them. 153 fish in the net. Big fish. And I have a theory why 153. But then Jesus spoke to Peter. He told him, Peter, do you love me? And he said, yes, Lord, I love you. He said, feed my sheep.
Or feed my lambs.
The next time Peter stopped and thought about it, and then here again, Jesus says, Peter, do you love me? And he says, yes, Lord, I love you. He said, take care of my lambs.
10 them. 10.
Third time he said, Peter, do you love me? And then here Peter actually got very sad. Do you know why?
He thought he lost his memory?
He got very, very sad. Why? All of a sudden, it is clear. Because we didn't talk about this when Jesus was on Friday, Good Friday, being tried, and they asked Peter, you are with this man, you know this man, You're from his town, you speak like him, we saw you with him. And 3 times he said,
I do not know.
I do not know him.
So he denied him.
So he lied 3 times that he knew Jesus. And now Jesus is asking him how many times?
3 as well.
So why Peter is sad? Because Jesus is reminding him that he had
Denied
denied it. He's not going to let it go. This is something we need to know. Jesus is trying to do what here? Is he trying to give Peter a hard time?
No.
I don't think so. What's he trying to do? Trying to have Peter reconcile. This is the way Jesus is saying to him, you hurt my feelings. I trusted you. You're my disciple. But when the time came for you to stand with me, you became a coward and denied me. I'm harsh. Jesus is gentle. I'm going to say it as it is. I would stand on the shoulder and say, you coward. You coward traitor. You denied that you know me 3 times. Jesus would not say that. What would he say? Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? As if he's saying, you denied me. You denied me. You denied me. And Peter said, Lord, and when Peter was asked the 3rd time, do you love me? He said, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. You don't have to ask me these 3 times. And then Jesus said, tend my sheep, take care of my sheep, feed them. Who's the sheep of Jesus? It's Israel at the time, the Jews. So when this happened, Jesus reconciled Peter again. This is what we learn from him. We learn to not let things go. We have to address them. We have to tackle them. You have somebody who hurt your feeling, you have to talk to them. Maybe you can say that like Jesus. You say to your friend, do you love me? And if they don't get it, say it again. If they don't get it, say it the 3rd time. If they don't get it, then tell them you cowards. Right? But we need to do that. This was another time that Jesus showed himself to his disciples. St. John talked about it. And the next time Jesus is going to be, the next time the Gospel, the New Testament talk about him, he's going to go back to Jerusalem on the Mountain of Olives. And there he's going to say goodbye to his disciples after 40 days. What day would that
Bind
be?
the flesh.
To ascend to heaven, what day is that going to be?
40.
What day in the week? Sunday,
Thursday.
Monday, Tuesday? It's always Thursday. Jesus ascends to heaven on a Thursday after 40 days of a Sunday.
Why a Thursday?
Because he's ascending, he's not. But then after that, 10 days later, it's going to be another Sunday,
Pentecost.
which is the descent of the Holy Spirit. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.